Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. In today's video, I'm going to be doing episode 2 of the Weekly Watchout. If it's your first time here and you're kind of confused as to what I'm talking about, I will link episode 1 somewhere at the top there for you guys to watch and to get a better understanding of what to expect from this segment. But without any further ado, let's just get into episode 2, okay? We're going to be talking about the movie called Infinite, which was released on the 10th of June 2021. Let's just get into the plot of this movie. I'm just going to be reading the overview when you Google search the movie and kind of just give you my perspective on if that's something that you can expect. Haunted by memories of places he's never visited, a man joins forces with a group of reborn warriors to stop a madman from destroying the endless cycle of life and reincarnation. That is pretty much an accurate description of what to expect. It's not your typical action. I mean, it does have action points, but it's not the typical action. There's so many other little topics and themes that are discussed within the movie, but going off the plot alone, it is accurate. Now let's hop into the acting of this movie. So for me, when I was looking at the cast of this movie, I was automatically drawn in, and I don't know if you guys also do that, where you see like actors that you're familiar with or actors that you've seen in other things that you really enjoyed seeing them in, and then when you see them in this movie, you're just automatically sold. I'm not gonna lie and say that when I saw Mark Wahlberg as the main actor of the thing, I was drawn in. Although Mark Wahlberg is the main actor within this film, I do just want to take my hat off to Chiwetel Ejiofor. I hope I'm saying his surname correct. This man's acting, just in general, but also in this film, oh my goodness. I don't know, the acting was just top tier. Obviously you might think it's a bit dramatic, but I think it just fits the role. I'm just yes. And I love the fact that he's always wearing suits. I don't know, that's just my own little thing in there. But I don't know, it was proper. And I'm just looking at the overall characters overall, there were some that I just felt were not necessarily 100% necessary or weren't that vocal. The movie literally could have had Mark Wahlberg and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Not to be rude to anybody else, but I'm just it's, yeah, them two, it's proper. Now let's talk about the genre accuracy of this movie. So this movie is categorized as an action sci-fi, which is pretty much spot on because it does have a lot of the typical action stuff, like the guns, the fast cars, the dialogue and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if we do have a look at the other films within that category, you'll see a lot of interesting movies within there that kind of overlap into a lot of other genres. But for the most part, I think the description of an action sci-fi is 100% accurate. Now let's talk about the concentration level required for this movie. So if you watched my episode 1, I did talk about how that movie didn't really need all that much concentration. But with this movie, it is kind of different. You do have to kind of concentrate because when they are exploring the reincarnation within the film, you can kind of get lost because you don't know if they're in past tense or if they're in now, or if they're you don't know, especially because with something like reincarnation, you die and then you come back in a different form or a different thing entirely. You can be a human and then die and then become a bird. So with this movie, you're kind of not sure okay, since this person supposedly died, who are they now, or what were they, or etc. But as the movie does continue, you do essentially then start to connect the dots on who is who and why that scene was important and this, that, and the other. It's not something where you have to really concentrate, but I will say you do just have to pay attention to what's happening on the screen and the dialogue. So overall concentration, I don't know, I would say medium to high concentration if we're gonna rank it in terms of a very easy to process kind of movie to the Inception. I don't know, I will always use Inception as number 10 and Shutter Island as number 10 because I have not seen anything more complicated than those movies. So yeah, in terms of that, I will rank it probably a 7 out of 10 in terms of concentration. It's really not that deep. Lastly, let's look at the overall production of this movie. There's not much that I can say within this category because it is the typical Hollywood movie, you know, when they have like a huge budget and they put in effort into making sure that they have like all these big cars and all these explosions and these fast cars and all this modern tech. And I mean, obviously all of it or some of it or all of it, I don't know, child. But I know CGI is involved, but I still think that even still speaks to the production, because I'm sure we've seen movies where the CGI is just a little bit shaky, or you can see that that car really didn't hit like that, or just you can see cheapness. But with this movie, definitely there's nothing like that. It's a typical Hollywood action. So best believe they made sure that everything looks as realistic as it can. So now we've reached the part where I have to give this movie a numerical ranking, and this is always a struggle for me because I might say it's a 10 and then when you watch it you'll say it's like a 3. But I don't know, I'm just gonna stand firmly in this ranking and give this movie a 10 out of 10, okay? Also, I think the reason why I'll give this a 10 out of 10 is because if you watch this movie and you see the end, it looks like there'll be a sequel, which I think was a kind of like a surprise to me. Not in a bad way, but I didn't anticipate that there would be a sequel to this movie. But it makes sense, right? Because of how it ended, you can kind of anticipate like, okay, there's probably going to be a second one. And I think with the way that they're discussing reincarnation, they could have a million movies, right? Because you die and then you go into another form. So it's like they could really like drag this out, which I hope they do in a way that isn't like Fast and Furious.
And
I'm so sorry if I'm coming for people's edges right now when it comes to Fast and Furious, but I'm like, why do we have so many? Like, why do we have so many? I have very high expectations for that sequel also, because this prequel was good. It was good, you know, it got me hooked a little bit. I think it's one of those movies where I'll probably like have it in the back of my mind waiting for that sequel. That's how much I enjoy this movie, guys. Like, go ahead and watch it right now, child. Right now. Anyways, guys, we've reached the end of episode 2 of the Weekly Watchout. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!